the Mac of All Trades studio in Fairport. And driven by Victor Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, it's Billified, the Bill Moran Podcast.
Well, hello and welcome. Thanks for getting your pot on. Thanks for telling a friend. That's how we spread the word about the pirate ship. Danny, what's going on?
What's going on, fellas? How you doing today?
Doing well.
Nice day in Fairport.
Oh, it's
Sun's
a
out.
little cold, cold today.
Sun's out, though.
Yes, that is true. The sun
That
was out
changes
today.
everything.
Kevin, what's going on?
Brackett got killed when the National Tractor Trailer Driving School went out in the first round today.
How's Everest doing?
They lost the University of Phoenix online.
Did they?
I was so bummed because I was watching, and I don't know why I was interested in this. I saw a pundit talking about the BYU Duquesne matchup, and I thought,
I bet that game.
they said, well, you know what? I think BYU will pull it out. Duquesne's good. They're going to be Duquesne won.
Kane won. I had it.
Yeah, I had it too.
I had it.
God dang it. My bracket went right. I figured, I mean, it didn't go to hell yet, but I mean, it's.
I also took the points with UConn tonight, given 26 and a half. I'm like, yeah, it's a lot of points. What the hell? We'll give it a whirl for a couple bucks.
Wagner looked great today. They got blown out pretty quickly. How much money is bet on the NCAA tournament?
It's got to be in the billions.
Yeah, it has to be in the billions. I don't know the total number, and I don't know that they'll ever get an accurate number, only because so many office pools and dumb shit like that. You know, but gambling is becoming bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger in the world of sports. And the lines are becoming a little more blurred and a little more blurred.
Oh, yeah.
And I have to tell you,
Ask Commissioner Manfred.
I think that Shohei Ohtani should be suspended from Major League Baseball pending an investigation. There is no way that a guy who's an interpreter, who spends 20 hours a day and has become your workout buddy and everything else, there is no way you don't know what he's doing. There is no way. And besides that, how does he get hold of nearly $4.5 million, I think it's like $4.36 million of your money that he can then go and gamble away? And it's all this PR team. He is the face of baseball. I understand that. But if you're going to have these standards and you're not going to let guys into the Hall of Fame who jack the ball out, and steroids don't make you better, they make you stronger, I just don't understand why you wouldn't do this. I mean, the whole thing is, Tani's the alleged victim in this, and for some reason, I'm telling you, it's lost in translation. That's bullshit.
Well, especially since the translator and Otani's people are telling two different stories right now. The stories were that Otani's translator had a massive gambling debt that he had to pay and he couldn't pay. So then Ohtani loaned him the money but wouldn't give it to him because he thought he'd gamble it away. So he wrote the check himself. And he gave a 90-minute interview to ESPN. When this comes out, meanwhile, they're in Seoul, Korea, opening the season with the Dodgers.
Yeah.
His interpreter's sitting right next to him on the bench like it's no big deal, just talking. Bip, 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 bip.
Yeah.
Then, the lawyers get a hold of this information like, no. Shohei Ohtani was robbed. And the Dodgers need to fire this interpreter, which they did.
Yeah.
And Ohtani had nothing to do with this. He is the victim. I agree with you.
I think
that he needs to be.
No way.
Here's the issue. Here's the thing that people get confused about. Pete Rose got banned from baseball because he bet on baseball.
These guys are
saying that they didn't bet on baseball. Okay. So, but here's the problem though with that. Let's say you have a huge debt of about, I don't know, $4.5 million somewhere. What's the easiest way to make it go away if you can't just cut a check?
Well, the thing would be to bet on yourself, either to throw the game.
Or to throw a game.
Yeah, to throw the game. But so I don't know whether or not they were betting on baseball. I don't know how you can kind of dig into that or not. I don't know who he's betting through. I don't know if this was a bookie somewhere.
Well, this is a guy in California. This guy was running a book.
Yes.
And he's been under an FBI investigation dating back to October.
Yeah.
You both shut your whore mouths. We had a World Series to win this year.
The guy is amazing, but he's had Tommy John surgery how many times?
I think twice now.
Twice? This is the second time, right?
Yeah.
But I guess you can
still hit, though.
Sure, yes, and I'm sure he could come back and still pitch. I'm sure. I think there's been guys who've done it.
Yeah,
right?
it's the success rate on your second Tommy John surgery isn't as good as just having one. but
It's
it
a little
has been
strange
done.
that ESPN and the Los Angeles Times seem to know more about what's going on than Shohei Ohtani's people.
Right. Who?
I mean, and
Are
he
oblivious.
has some of the best PR agents in the world, and his
They don't speak English.
and his interpreter does not.
Yeah, Sammy Sosa. He pulled the Sammy Sosa
interpreter does
defense.
not.
Speak English.
But if this is the case, who would take, if you had something go horribly wrong, is there anybody that would be willing to take the fall for you?
No.
You don't know?
No. Other than Jesus. No.
Your mom wouldn't take the fall for you on certain
You know
things?
what? I take that back.
I don't know, because I'm trying to think, like, I don't know there's anybody in my life.
My mother might.
Maybe my dad would. But I go, for me, if it were my kids, if you could exchange places with them, you've got more life to live.
Well, that was the theory about OJ. One of the theories that he didn't commit the two murders that his son did.
Yeah.
Right. And then he was stepping in his spot. Though life seems to have proven otherwise along the way.
Kevin, anybody take the fall for you?
Absolutely not.
No one would take the fall?
They're pushing me.
Not Brady?
No.
A lot of this Ohtani story just remains extremely unclear at this point.
Well, if he's betting on baseball, maybe he'll go play basketball for a year and come back.
Well, here's what they're basically saying. He's an all-time baseball genius, but an absolute financial twit. That, like, he doesn't get money. Because he's saying that he never looks at his bank account, and it's very well could be. But
when you got $300 million, do you really need to look at it all
no,
the time?
you don't. But I mean, to have $4.5 million, look.
Yeah, but ultimately it's your
If
responsibility.
I take $600 out of my bank account, Rocket Money goes, say, large transaction detected. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, somewhere, a bank, $4.3 million taken out of a bank. I was in the bank the other day, and a guy was trying to take $6,000 out.
Can you even get $4 million out of a bank?
I don't know.
Without, weeks in advance?
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, remember,
that is a great point, because this guy was in a bank locally at the drive-through trying to get $6,000 through something, and then the guy comes back and says, he's the branch manager.
Yeah,
He goes,
come in.
you don't have the. He goes, normally you'd have to come in. I know who you are, so I'm gonna. I'll do this. He goes, but I can't give you the full $6 because the other account is in somebody else's name and they're not with you. So I can't do it. But you're right. I mean, there's a lot of protocols here. So somewhere something isn't adding up. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
Just, the baseball math isn't adding up. Who's on first? Shohei.
Somebody wrote, if Rob Manfred, the commissioner of baseball, wants to make this problem go away right now, he needs to reinstate Pete Rose and bring Trevor Bauer back to baseball.
Yes.
But then he's got another set of problems.
Well, Trevor Bauer's not banned.
Yeah, but he's been blacklisted.
But he's been blacklisted. Like, they won't touch him, and I don't understand.
He could pitch for the league
I'm with
minimum,
you.
Kevin, and nobody wants to touch him.
Yeah.
There's so many skeletons in this dude's closet that nobody wants to touch.
He will pitch this year.
You think so?
He's pitching in Mexico.
Oh,
He had a
wow.
chance-
This year.
You think so?
Who? For who?
My guess is probably the Yankees because they're going to need pitching help at some point.
Yeah, they are going to need pitching.
I
And they
think
don't give a shit.
They would have gone after him by now.
Well,
would've signed
maybe
it
you
by
just
now.
wait to see how bad these things get. You know what I'm saying? Like, if there's a guy with talent that you can get at a lower rate because he's got some skeletons in his closet, I guess. I don't know.
Meanwhile, Yamamoto, their other big free
Yes.
agent signing,
Yes.
got shelled
Yes.
this morning.
Yes.
I looked it up. We got $2.72 billion bet on the men's and women's basketball tournaments.
Okay. And $4.5 million of that came from Shotani.
No.
Welcome
His-
to Shotani Resort and Casino.
He had Wagner.
his interpreter.
Yeah, Wagner. That's fun. It's just crazy to me. I go, wow. And they keep saying it's not illegal what he's done because he's not tied to the betting and all this shit. And I go,
This is to an illegal bookmaker, though. If he had done
Yes.
this on FanDuel or DraftKings,
Yes.
and by the way, you also can't do that in California. Like what we have in New York, which we barely have, is legalized gambling through apps and stuff.
I thought they did in California.
I don't think you can do that in
Oh,
California.
you might be right. I know New York. Well, I think one of the reasons they got through to New York so fast is Jersey did it. And
Right, and all the people in the city
going
were
to
complaining.
Jersey
Right.
and going down to Jersey to gamble. So I don't know. Wow. Well, what'll happen? Anything? Nothing. Nothing. will
Gambling
happen.
is permitted on horse races, at Indian casinos, and in rooms, in card room and state lottery. So California.
That's it.
But you can't.
But you can't bet on sports.
right.
Right.
And that's
Can't
where he
bet on
spent most of his time last year.
Yeah.
When he was in Anaheim. So Yeah, this Ohtani thing is pretty huge, and it sucks for baseball because he really has become the face of the game.
He's the face of the game.
I know these people are saying if it were the Yankees or the Mets, the media would be all over it. Well, they're all over it enough. That's still baseball. Baseball's taken a step back over the years.
Yeah,
but this is a mess. This is bad for baseball.
Well, here's the thing: is I don't know that we know the depths of it. The initial reports were
are pretty bad.
But the initial reports, the first thing we heard was he was robbed of $4.5 million from his interpreter.
Yeah,
who needed to pay a gambling debt. That's what we were told. So I think most people went, all right, okay, Shohei Ohtani, I believe that. He seems like a good guy. I don't understand what he's saying, but he sure can play the game, right? It's amazing. Other than that, that's it. I mean, who else could get away with this? You've got to. This is the thing. When you're a winner, and even think back to in high school. If you were a winner, you got away with everything.
Oh yeah,
didn't you?
Well, they did a whole South Park.
Got away with anything,
huh?
That's why Dan never got away with anything.
They did a whole South Park in the first season, like because Stan was the star quarterback and he failed the test.
Yeah.
But we treat athletes better than regular people.
Yeah.
Mr. Garrison, said that.
Yeah.
And he's right. I mean, like, remember Pedro Guerrero? Like, his IQ was so bad he couldn't even make his bed.
Who was the kid at? No, I didn't know.
Yeah, it's like 54 or something.
That's why I got to get Bonds in here. Bonds has a great Pedro Guerrero story from a party when he was at.
Who does?
Bonsignor.
Oh, really?
Got a great Pedro Guerrero story.
O.J. Simpson does too. Like after O.J. got exonerated, like he was dating a girl, and he called 911. It's a famous like Jim Rome used to play this call. Yeah, I'd like to call 911 to report that my girlfriend is missing. She's been out doing drugs with Pedro Guerrero.
Oh God, she's out doing drugs with Pedro Guerrero.
It could be worse. She could be with you, Juice.
Who was the kid from Rush Henrietta? Who was the quarterback?
Ashton Broiled.
Didn't they delay? Didn't Rush Henrietta and I think they delayed.
They're playing the state tournament.
But they delayed report cards coming out or something, or the 10-week marking period, so that way he could still play in the game.
Oh, yeah.
And then there was something else, even with basketball. Because I wound up going, why did I go to a game at, I think he was going to break the scoring record or something, but I wound up at a game at Rush Henrietta.
I think we both did.
Yeah.
And we were supposed to do something at halftime.
Yes,
and then a cheerleader fell off the top of the pyramid, hit her head on the hardwood. And so they bring in the ambulance. So Bill and I, okay, so I guess we're not doing nothing. We're just hanging out.
Is it going to be donkey basketball at halftime?
No, I don't remember what it was. I think it was through a friend of mine had asked us to come out. Danny agreed. We went. I think one of my sons came with me. Ashton Broyle, I think even then, he was on the basketball team, but I think he was like not supposed to play. There was some grade scam there. But again, he got on. And then, girl fell.
To get into Syracuse.
The girl fell off the top of the pyramid, and they had the ambulance, and like they shut it down, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And by the way, you got to call that a sport. I know people don't like to.
Oh, yeah, cheerleading's a sport.
No, but people like to say it's not and all this. I watch those flyers and I go, yeah,
I can't believe
they have a lot of trust.
I can't believe they used to wear saddle shoes. Remember cheerleaders? They used to make them wear those hard saddle shoes.
Where is this? In Silver Creek?
Like in the 80s, yeah. I have pictures of my older sister. She was in the Fredonia. She played for Fredonia, or she cheered for Fredonia. They wore saddle shoes.
That's way back there in 1950. The time hadn't caught up yet. I don't think they did in Pine Plains, but in Pine Plains, you definitely didn't want to be at any point in a pyramid. I don't think they could make a pyramid.
No, really?
Oh, God. It was all the bigger girls.
Yeah, right.
It's not a sport for the girls at the base.
No. No, it was all the bigger girls. And they were not, and I don't know. They went out there and you didn't have any really, because all the good-looking girls either played field hockey or ran cross country.
At our school, they cheered. The girls cheered.
The good-looking girls?
Yeah, they cheered.
They did not in my school.
Ready?
Not my school.
The Pine Plain Heifers.
It was the Pine Plains Bombers with something that the mascot could not be today. It was a Native American with one feather coming up was the mascot. So it was the Bombers with a mascot of Native American. It made no sense. But the whole fucking school made no sense. The whole school. And I have to tell this story now because my father and mother probably got sick of hearing me. My dad tried to walk the line as good as he could, always supporting me academically, and I was kind of the bonehead of the family, more because I just didn't do it. And like in our school, you had to take a language for 4 years before you could take the Regents. Everywhere else, it was 3 years. So I had my dad petition to get me out of the class, took the Regents, and I failed it. So it didn't matter, you know. But there was all that kind of stuff. But I always would say, like, sometimes they really treated kids like crap. Well, my father, for one summer, decided he was bored and he was not going to do anything around the house. So he took a job as a teacher in summer school in Pine Plains. And he came back and goes, and we're all out. I'd all graduated. And he goes, I got to tell you something. What a bunch of backward mofo. Basically, I'm paraphrasing here. But, like, they treated people like shit. They were mean to the kids. They treated the kids like scumbags. And he goes, when you were nice to them, he goes, those are some really nice kids. He's like, but just awful. Like, I said, yes, I've been trying to tell you that. He goes, I know, I should listen. Some were great. There were a few that were great. But there were a lot that were just, like, disgruntled, mean. And they were mean to some of the kids that maybe need a little extra attention. That's all. I don't know.
Catholic school with the nuns.
Yeah,
old school Catholic school.
Yeah, I did a podcast today with Mr. NFL.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, and but it was talking a lot about about the abuse in the Catholic schools, and he talked about even some of the sisters sexually would be considered sexual abuse with some boys and things. He didn't get too. I thought he would go a little more, and he said afterwards, I could have said a lot more. I said, whatever you're comfortable with. I don't want to. But I think something that's often overlooked was the physical abuse that would go on. And that you didn't really see in my school.
My grandmother says a nun once grabbed her by the hair at the chalkboard. She was trying to do a math problem. She got it wrong, and she kept getting it wrong. And the nun kept grabbing her by the ponytail and slamming her head into the chalkboard, going, why can't you get this right?
Why would you do that to another human being at all for any reason, especially a kid who you're supposed to be teaching? Like, it sounds like they were nuts, or they were so, I don't know.
I get it.
Well, I kind of do. I think that when you start, I don't believe we need to sacrifice like that. I don't think we're ever supposed to. I think that the messages have been interpreted incorrectly. I think that the purpose of life is to be happy, and at any moment in life you're presented with options. Go with the one that excites you the most. Do it to the fullest with no expectation on the outcome, and you'll have a pretty happy life. And the outcome will be pretty good throughout. And when things arise, try to always look for the positive. I heard a story the other day that made me kind of laugh, where a guy was trying to buy, like, it's an old story, trying to buy a certain stereo for his car. Really wanted this one, and decided after he saved up his money that he couldn't afford the top of the line. So he got the next one. And about a week later, his car gets broken into and the stereo's stolen. And he's like, well, he decided to think, well, maybe there's something good that's going to come from this, which is hard to do. And he goes to have the dashboard repaired, and the guy's like, oh, this is nothing. I'm not even going to charge you for it. And the insurance is paying, and he gets enough money to buy the top-of-the-line stereo, which is what he wanted to begin with all along.
Oh, wow.
And that sometimes if you just stay focused on that, good things will happen. Even when things arise, try to find the positive in it.
So he committed insurance fraud to get a high-end stereo. All right.
So I guess, like, no,
like
his stereo got stolen. His stereo did get stolen. But
You're covered,
but that
Kevin.
didn't get charged for anything. So
he did not get charged for the repair, but he had to replace the stereo. So I guess that would be the thing. I don't know. But either way, I just thought it's hard to do that. And when you see these people who are told, you can't, like, how sexually frustrated would you be as a
nun?
As a nun in your prime. In your prime.
Yeah.
I mean, women have urges too. So you've got that.
Oh, this is
and
going to
sacrifice
waste.
for God, and you can't go anywhere, and all these things and conflict
But they
inside
made
you.
that choice, though.
I know.
That's the thing.
I know. But I don't get that either, though.
I don't like.
No, my mother
Is there
has
anybody
stories.
who's our age or younger who wants to be a nun? Who is holding out to be a nun?
No, but I do know a priest. I went to Fisher with a guy who became a priest.
Okay.
Father Jim Murphy.
All right.
Yeah. And he seems very happy and doesn't look like, I don't think he would harm a fly, to be honest with you. But other than that, I don't know anyone. But, all right, we'll take a moment. Well, we overreact to a lot of things. And we overreact to a lot of things. And I think I said yesterday that we were overreacting to something. And today, I think it's been proven right. We'll get to that next. But first.